You ever have one of those mornings where the world just crashes in, uninvited, like it's got a personal grudge? That was me, 6 a.m., sipping coffee in my kitchen in Willow Creek, just another quiet cul-de-sac in suburban Ohio, when the pounding started boom, boom, boom like someone was trying to knock my front door off its hinges. My mug shook, coffee sloshing over the rim, and my heart did that little skip you get when trouble's already got its foot in the door. Open up. HOA inspection. A voice barked, all gravel and attitude, the kind that doesn't ask, it demands. I froze, halfway to the hallway, my brain scrambling to catch up. HOA? At dawn? I'm no hero, just a 58-year-old guy named Tom Harper, retired mechanic, trying to keep my little patch of grass mowed and my life simple. But that pounding wasn't about grass, it felt like a shakedown. I cracked the door, just an inch, and there they were, four guys built like linebackers, shaved heads, tattoos snaking out from their collars like venomous vines. Their blue shirts screamed HOA Enforcer in bold white letters, like they'd raided a biker gang's wardrobe and slapped on a logo to make it legit. The leader, a guy with a cobra inked up his neck, snapped his gum loud enough to make my teeth itch. He shoved a crumpled paper at me. Violation notice, he grunted. Your property's out of line, Harper. Fix it in 72 hours, or you're out. Out of line? For what? Leaving my mailbox one shade too gray? I stared at the paper, then at him, my mouth half open, but before I could get a word out, a voice cut through from behind me, calm as a still lake, but sharp as a blade. Step back. You're not dealing with him. I turned, and there was Jake, me son's old friend, ex-Marine, the kind of guy who walks into a room and the air shifts. He'd been crashing at my place since my son, Matt, moved out after his divorce. Jake's not big on words, but when he speaks, you listen. Gray sweatpants, faded tee, sunglasses still on indoors like he was born ready for a fight. The Cobra guy sneered. What are you, his bodyguard? Jake didn't blink. 3 seconds. Get off this porch. Cobra laughed, jabbed a finger at Jake's chest. Big mistake. Faster than I could blink, Jake had the guy's wrist twisted, a sickening pop echoing as he slammed him face down onto the porch. The other three froze, their tough guy act crumbling like cheap drywall. Jake leaned close to Cobra's ear, his voice low. You're not enforcers, you're muscle. Next time, you won't walk away. They scrambled, tires squealing as their truck peeled out, leaving their violation notice soggy on my steps from last night's rain. I picked it up, hands shaking not from fear, but from the gut punch realization that this wasn't about rules. This was personal. See, Willow Creek used to be a normal place, kids on bikes, barbecues, neighbors waving over picket fences. But the HOA, run by this slick suit named Victor Ramsey, had turned it into a pressure cooker. It started small, notes about trash cans an inch too close to the curb, fines for faded shutters. Annoying, sure, but you shrug it off. Then it got meaner, hundreds of bucks for unapproved flower beds, threats to tow cars that didn't match community standards. My neighbor, Mrs. Elena Vargas, got hit with $100 a day fines because her rose bushes were too red. Too red. By the time those goons showed up at my door, it wasn't about compliance, Anna Maria, it was about control, and Ramsey was the puppet master pulling the strings. Jake saw it clearer than I did. Over coffee that morning, he leaned against the counter, cool as ever, and said, "This isn't about your lawn, Tom. They're testing you, seeing if you'll push back. Those weren't inspectors, the rehired thugs, and someone's paying them to squeeze this neighborhood dry." I rubbed my temples, the weight of it sinking in. This is insane, Jake. It's just a suburb, not a battlefield. He set his mug down, eyes like steel. You think there's a difference? They're using fear instead of bullets, but it's the same game, and you're already in it. The next few days, it got worse. Notices piled up, $12,000 in fines for disrupting community peace. My son's car got towed for improper registration, even though the tags were clean. Across the street, old Mr. Chin got a letter threatening to seize his house over a flagpole he'd had up for 20 years. Elena's roses were ripped out by enforcers in the dead of night. The whole street felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for the next boot to drop. But something else was stirring too. Neighbors started talking, whispering over fences, sharing stories. Mrs. Vargas slipped me a note about her fines. Chin told me about the goons who'd banged on his door at midnight. We weren't just scared, we were pissed. Jake didn't waste time. He He started training me in the backyard, barefoot in the dew-soaked grass, showing me how to stand my ground, how to throw a punch without breaking my hand. You don't need to be a soldier, Tom, he said, shoving me hard to test my balance. You just need to stop being prey. That word prey hit me like a brick. That's what we'd all been, cowering behind our curtains, hoping the HOA would move on to someone else. But Jake wasn't having it. He mapped out the neighborhood, circling houses on a napkin like a battle plan. Chen's with us. Vargas too. The Millers might join if they grow a spine. We get enough people, they can't crush us all. Then came the night, everything broke open. Friday, just after sunset, the street went quiet too quiet. Then headlights flooded the block, a convoy of black SUVs rolling in slow, like wolves circling. 6, maybe 7 guys piled out, bigger than the last bunch, armed with batons, chains, even a crowbar glinting under the streetlights. Ramsey's name was practically written on their shirts, HOA Enforcer, bold as ever. They didn't knock politely. They kicked over trash cans, slammed fists on doors, shouting, "Open up! Board business!" The leader, Cobra again, his arm in a brace from Jake's last lesson, pointed at me. "Harper, you're done. Non-compliant, harboring a troublemaker. We're cleaning house tonight." Jake stepped onto the porch, calm as a summer breeze. "Back to your trucks. Now." Cobra laughed, a nasty bark. "You don't scare us, tough guy? There's more of us this time." Jake didn't blink. Good. What happened next was like something out of a movie. Cobra swung his baton. Jake sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and sent him sprawling with a single twist. 2 more charged. Jake dropped one with an elbow to the jaw, the other with a sweep that left him groaning in my azaleas. The neighbors weren't hiding anymore. Chen stood on his lawn, phone up, recording. Vargas shouted, "We see you." The Millers, shaky but there, joined in. Phones lit up the night, cameras catching every move. Then sirens wailed. Real cops, not Ramsey's rent-a-thugs. Deputies swarmed in, lights flashing, barking orders. Ramsey himself rolled up in his shiny BMW, his silver hair gleaming, but his smug grin faded when he saw the zip ties snapping onto his goons' wrists. Jake looked him dead in the eye. "You're not inspectors, Ramsey. You're bullies. And this neighborhood's done with you." The crowd roared. Chun, Vargas, even shy Mrs. Patel, clutching her rosary but standing tall. For the first time, I felt it. We weren't just fighting back, we were winning. But Ramsey didn't quit. The next day, mailboxes overflowed with legal threats, summons, fines, accusations of inciting unrest. My face was plastered on flyers calling me a disruptor. Billboards went up at the entrance, painting us as radicals. Some neighbors wavered. Miller got a call from his boss, spooked by HOA lies. But Jake kept us grounded. "This is paper warfare," he said, piling the letters on my table. "They want you scared. So we shine a light." He wrote a press release, sharp, simple, brutal. Chen's flag, Vargas's roses, my son's car, all laid bare. We sent it to every news outlet, every county office, even a veterans group Jake knew. 2 days later, a reporter showed up, camera rolling. I stood on my lawn, voice shaky but firm. "They sent thugs to our homes, try to break us with fear. We're not criminals, just people who want to live free." The news clip went viral. Suddenly, Ramsey's HOA wasn't untouchable, they were the bad guys. Then Chen dropped the bomb. He found an old deed in his attic, buried in his dad's files. The HOA's covenant? Expired 20 years ago, never legally renewed. Every fine, every threat built on a lie. We spread the word, copies in every mailbox. Ramsey called an emergency meeting to save face. Nobody showed. The county came for him next, hauling out boxes of cooked books from the HOA office. Tax fraud, fake fees, cash payoffs. Ramsey's empire was dust. That night, the cul-de-sac lit up not with fear, but with life. Porch lights blazed, doors swung open, kids ran free. We ate, laughed, clinked beers under the stars. Jake stood quiet, watching, always scanning. I asked him later, "Why'd you fight so hard?" "You didn't have to." He looked at me, eyes soft for once. "Fear breaks good people, Tom. I've seen it overseas, seen it here. Sometimes, one fight's enough to remind folks they're stronger than they think. You were that fight." He left a week later, duffel slung over his shoulder, no fanfare, just a handshake and a nod. "You don't need me anymore." But I think we did, Because guys like Jake don't just save you, these show you how to save yourself. Willow Creek's free now. No more fines, no more goons. But I can't help wondering, how many other neighborhoods are still fighting their own Ramses, their own battles? And who's going to stand up for them? So, tell me, what would you do if your home was under siege like that? Would you fight, or would you fold? Drop a comment, share your story. Let's talk about what it really means to stand your ground.